I always really like the music on this. One of those things where I guess I'm always listening to it, but at the same time, I don't even usually realize I'm listening to it. That is off by 1, isn't it? Oh, I see it. It doesn't look right. By 2. By 2 should be fine. By 2. Yeah, this is where it's off. Shaking my head at myself, I swear. What are you doing up there, you random thing? 2. I definitely choose not to use those little like blocky thingies for the basis of like always fucking up stuff. Like, you know, when you actually put down like a solid block and they start building it, and I'm like sitting and panicking with like wide eyes being like, I'm not finished, but okay. Alright. I should be able to deal with this. I say I should, but let's be honest, can I? You know, when I eventually get buttons or whatever, I'm guessing one of the buttons I'm going to have is sit up straight. Just like a perpetual reminder from people to like remain in posture. Okay, that is correct. That is correct. So why is this wrong? Takes it down to there. How and why are you wrong? Did I make this too long? No. Oh, sweet Jesus, why? I'll come back to that in a moment. Eight, 9. That's right. I feel like I've messed up that top one somehow. Oops. That one's right too. So you place the blocks down before realizing it always turns out like a jigsaw puzzle. That does make sense. I've seen some of your bases, Grim, and they are definitely confusing at times. I think this is where the problem is. They're confusing to me, at least, because obviously, as you can see, I definitely don't build like that. Like, I make a mess of building, don't get me wrong. I'll sit here and fucking redo it, but, like, generally speaking, the way I build a place is not really traditional RimWorld. I actually looked at it the other day because I was getting a few questions on and offline streaming about my lack of use of the kill boxes. And truth be told, like, I don't use them. I understand why people use them, but I have no use for them with the way that I structure my bases. So I actually have more of a, say, Warcraft or Starcraft, Age of Empires kind of style of, what do you call it, like township kind of building. So I like to generally spread out. So normally what I do, because obviously RimWorld, any distance away from the center is time that my people have to spend potentially injured running in for health. So I try to avoid making it that they're like gonna get injured and not gonna get help. So what I end up doing is having to bunch up a lot of stuff, but I do end up spreading out my resources generally across the length, the width of the actual map. And so as part of that, like, I don't have it all bunched up and I don't have it all conveniently together. So it ends up being more like a town or a city. And so when I end up putting all my turrets out, I used to start from the inside and go out. But what I found is every time somebody had a tantrum of some kind of berserking, my turrets would fucking kill them before I could save the game. So I ended up putting turrets outside and a buffer turret range. So basically what would happen is, say this, for instance, right? This to the wall. So there would be turrets along here, and along here to a degree, but they'd buffer out about here and go wide around it. So missing the central areas where my people are normally walking, but it would end up encapsulating an area of open space that is basically lethal for any enemies to walk in, which is really beneficial for me, but not for them, obviously. There's a warg on the map, people. I'm going to take off the other things. You guys can go hunt it. Yeah, I've noticed most of your bases are in the mountains, Grim. And I've seen quite a lot of maps where people use like the chokeholds and stuff like that too. And like I said, like I do understand it, but from my perspective and the way that I play a game, I think that's wrong there. The way I play the game, it's not beneficial to me. I definitely think that like for most players, it's a great strategy. And I do enjoy seeing like a few different ways that it goes. But yeah, I would never personally have it implemented unless it's an absolute friggin' necessity. What are you screaming about, Blessed? Triantha? Good to see you though. I feel like it's been a while since I've got to say hello. Imagine that you're absolutely working to a point of like exhaustion. I hope that your super long days like not come to an end, so to speak, but you know, ease back to normal soon for you. Coffee doesn't work for everybody, Grim. Sometimes people actually need like sleep and recreation and just even the chance to do absolutely nothing. I'm definitely one person that recharges with the concept of doing zero. Like, if I'm sitting in a room and I don't necessarily have to have any kind of like electrical devices or reading materials or internets or anything like that to be able to like keep myself mentally amused or whatever, I can just enjoy like laying or sitting there doing absolutely nothing. It's just bliss, and I just feel so great after a day of doing that. Oh man, Death Wish coffee. I know about that. I wanted to try it back when I was working in computers, but I figured it would be too dangerous for me to own an entire bag of it in case I forgot and drank it again. And I knew for a fact that it was going to be too dangerous to take it into a, you know, IT workplace with a whole bunch of like severely tired IT professionals. It's so funny, even back before I found out about like Crohn's and everything, I still sometimes would go out of my way just to get like an energy drink or something like that, just because I couldn't explain it at the time because nothing obviously made sense to me, but I'd often get like an upset stomach after drinking coffee. And like sometimes it was because I had it like with milk, and sometimes it was just like because coffee is a stimulant and stuff, and it does upset Crohn's stomachs pretty easily. To use the Keurig cups because you have no patience for my caffeine. The Keurig ones, are they like really small? Like I'm not 100% fluent on like all coffee terminology and stuff, but I did do some baristering at some point. I vaguely remember some things. I definitely know I butchered how I said that. If there's anything I butcher better than like my RimWorld people when they're pissing me off, it's honestly got to be like pronouncing shit. Okay, we almost have bedrooms. Use 2 cups for your mug. Well, that is kind of funny. So what, you just like, do you have the dual pour system and it just pours out into 2 cups in one drawer? Is that what you have? Or are you doing a dual drawer into one mug? I'm on the assumption that you probably have some kind of like nice coffee machine. Speaking of Grim, do you own a nice coffee machine? Or is it literally just a kettle? Because I don't think I've ever asked. Warg is attacking after being harmed. It's cool. Tofu's probably got this. If he doesn't... Oh, well, there we go. I was going to say, if he doesn't, it's Tofu. It's fine. Probably fine. Save it. My cat is howling at, like, nothing out in my lounge room. Like, I'm down here. I'm, like, 17 feet away. Something like that. I'm not that fucking far away. I'll say that much. No. I have, like... I don't even have a set of, like, nice coffee mugs. Or anything. I have, like... You know when people don't know what to get you, so they, like, gift you a pretty coffee mug? And it's, like, whether you drink tea or coffee or whatever in your workplace, you'll likely use this mug at some point in your life. So that's what my collection of mugs consists of, is like somewhere in my really early, like somewhere between like 18 and mid 20s, when people couldn't figure out what on earth to get me. And for some reason, nobody ever asked if there was anything like I was interested in. I got a combination of a lot of scented candles, which looking back were actually really nice, and random mugs. I have some mugs from like all over Australia too. It's really weird. Something's attacking something. A cat is eating something. I can hear it. Maybe it's down this way. Oh, there it is. Oh, look at them. They double ganked the bunny. No. Good little cats. They're like pat, 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 pat. That's Wells. Love it. It better have a picture of like... Sorry, give me a second. Where's one? Oh no, my rooster's down. It better have one of these on it. Yo, dudes. Why aren't you rescuing it? Where's my other animals? Alpaca is like... I hate the fact that it's inside. Okay, malnutrition. Okay, cat, what's your problem? Okay, just scratches, that's fine. There, the rooster. Just malnutrition, extreme malnutrition. Jesus Christ, you people want to feed your animals? Hey, a black foal. It's so awesome. I'm like generally a fan of like the color black. I know it's like shade or whatever, but like I love it when you get like a black animal. Awesome. Like there's this like black and white guinea pig. Also, I don't think you've seen my new colony, Prantha. Oh. Yes. Oh, I'm sure it's the other one. I didn't see it. Mind you, I've only like... I've watched a few of your streams, but like I haven't really been like paying attention for like objects. Because usually like with yours, I'm trying to focus on like figuring out the game more so. Because I'm not familiar with the Tarkov game, personally. So I'm only really learning it through watching you. So that's mostly where my focus is when you're playing. What was I going to say? I was gonna say something. I'll remember it eventually. It'll come back. Maybe. Don't hold me to that. Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's right. The Asora fucking tribe. So, okay, so last time you saw my RimWorld, I had the Nido colony. And basically, they would not stop punching on. Legitimately, they just pissed about everything all the time. So angry. So very angry. So I eventually, what you can do with the people is you can legitimately revoke their medical care. And you can give them no medical care at all. And so that's what I did. I let them punch on, and they started dropping like flies. And then a few, like half a dozen, was just like, I'm fucking out of here. And I'm like, you're really not? And ended up beating them up and like making them stay until they were gone. But that was fine. And then what else? Yes, they died. And then I got the man in black arrived, but he got ganked by a herd of angry muffaloes that I had attacked just beforehand that were still roaming around. So he got killed as soon as he walked in, so there was no hope. So yeah, I made this colony of Asora, and I brought in 21 people, which is absurd. And realistically, I was expecting them to like die by their first or second winter, and I think this is still their first winter. Because 21 people is a lot. And then I took on Rose, that was 26, and I take on a few others, and I think we're at like, I don't know, I think we're somewhere around, what it was, like 32 people. And then we still have prisoners. Like down here we have prisoners to like slowly get as well. I don't think I could play the Tarkov game. It's one of those ones where it's interesting to watch, but I, for starters, wouldn't have the patience to wait like up to 10 minutes between games. That's just like some of the games that I played that took a while, like a couple of minutes. I ended up playing this mobile game in between it. Legitimately, what was it called? Let me pause for a second. Because I played this pretty consistently. BitLife. Ended up playing a game called BitLife, and ended up having like successful people and shit like that in it, in between playing like other games where they took too long. Because I'm like, I just don't have the patience to sit here and waste 10 minutes between a game. Like when I'm playing PUBG, I hate when it like wastes up to 3 minutes between a game. Because I'm legitimately just sitting there like, you know, 10 times 3 minutes, I'm losing 30 minutes, you know, per every 10 games. That's a whole match on its own. Like, I could be playing a whole extra match. Like, that's how I think, unfortunately. So I don't get enjoyment out of games where I have to wait in between it. I don't have that kind of patience. Like, I know DMZ makes you wait for a couple of seconds while you're in, like, the waiting to get matched and shit. But at the same time, like, there's a bit of, like, pre-arranging beforehand that's necessary to get into the game that's not technically waiting. So I don't mind it too much. BitLife is fun. It was one of the few mobile games where I've like bothered to pay for it just to get rid of the ads to like smash through it. It was super funny. Is like my brother got me into it, and he's like, "Oh, you know, I've got this game," and I'm like, he told me what it was, and I looked up in the App Store, and it was like legitimately just the icon was literally a picture of sperm, and I'm like sitting there going, "Is it the sperm game?" And he's like, yeah, that's it. And I'm like, there's this really sus recommendations right here. And he's like, no, it's a really good game. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it a go. I don't really have much faith in a game that's got that for an icon, but sure, let's give it a go. So I ended up playing it, and it didn't actually even take me very long before I was like, sure, I'm gonna like full and entirely just slap down money to get the ads off it so I can actually play it more consistently. What was really funny though, so I got a guy and I made his career a musician, and he ended up multi-millionaire. I'll come back to that in a second. So I am offering gifts. I want to give you all this wood. Let's see, where's my thing? It says it's 12. Now, I wasn't going to get away with these, but all these are pretty much on the verge of shit guns, but I'm sure they each, like, equal something. I do want to be able to sell these if I can. And, oh, they won't accept the thrombo horn. Okay, well, you guys will probably accept these. I've got to take it past 80 to get them to neutral. It says 89. That should be enough, and I should be able to trade with them now. Okay, okay, so you... Now we're trading. We're not looking at great prices because, let's be honest, they're not allies. They are just people I can trade with. So let's get your food. Components. I need more cloth. I do want to sell you awesome little furs. I also want to take you for all the money that you have, because my people's be needing money. It's a shame you guys weren't interested in Thrombohorn. Like I literally have that in surplus. You guys could have just at least been like mildly interested, you know? Faintly interested. Whatever the friggin' terms are. Alright, so I think, yeah, doing its best here, honestly. I'm getting like some pretty fucking good amount of pemmican. Hey, you got cows and shit. Okay, so I did think about this. I think, Grim, you were the one that said that cows are like really good for meat or something like that. Let's see, they give, they produce huge amounts of milk, meat, and leather. Exceptionally gentle creatures never seek revenge. Okay, so if they make a fuck ton of milk and meat and leather and stuff, I might actually get them. I don't generally keep them because during times like, say now, during winter, they tend to die. But we're going to try to get them home. I'll take that as well. Obviously, we're not doing great for money, so we ain't stopping off anywhere else. We're just going straight home. So, yeah, and I have a pen for that, so here's hoping that goes well. Okay, so yeah, our people have warmed up to us, and they now consider that we're allies by like 9. Although I did just trade with them, so yeah, they're now at 14. That's fantastic. That quest for the item stash is no longer available because they're hostile back then. So if I go into quests, we only have this one, which in 11 hours we lose, and that's fine. What is it? Build them a building with a heater and they will use it. Yeah, well, I built fireplaces for people and they be bitching about the fact that it's sweaty. I take that away from them and they're all hypothermic, so fuck them. They can deal with what they got given. You're at 9. How are you? 3, 13, 12. You haven't even gotten up for a while. I've got to check that. Oh, you're ready to harvest. I really got to stop using terms like that. I sound like such a fucking psycho. Like, you know, peeling animals for their leathers and fucking harvesting people into the colony. Yeah, so getting back to the BitLife game. So my brother suggested I play it. And I was like, okay, sure. And was it Eater will help keep the cows alive in winter? Oh, okay. That would actually be really useful. But I don't actually have like a building in here yet. I could probably like slap one up here. Oh, there's horses and shit. Hold up. We don't keep orange horses. That's just a felony right there. Okay, we'll take the donkeys. Actually, you know what? Fuck the donkeys over. I don't really be needing donkeys. I will take the horses. Not touching those. They can live. Leave them alone. And let's save it again. I'm going to have to build one of those offset buildings or whatever. But I'm guessing like maybe over here or down off the edge here or something like that. Like I'm going to have to move this eventually. So maybe it can go there. Oh, there's like magpies outside. That's awesome. Okay, so we finished researching pemmican. Okay, so this was the big thing. I can... Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that I could potentially need. Normally, I would go for like a packaged survival meal. Although, let's be real, we still got some. So I'm not too worried about that. I thought about getting the geothermal power, but they're pretty set okay at the moment for power. What I want to get... gun turrets. No, I don't want autocannon. Is that what the thing is for? That makes sense now. So I want this, but I need to get machining first. Yes, Azula, there is birdies outside. I know that's very exciting. She's like literally like shuffle button move, like losing her mind right here. Okay, so he's gone berserk because he's in serious pain. You guys gotta stop punching on. Maybe that will stop your pain problem. I don't know, it's just a fucking wild theory. See if I can get in here before you kill somebody. Oh, way to go, Mark. Top job. Okay, can you please capture him? There's only 2 medical things, so yeah, go shove him between the other room. Let me know if he's dying or not. This guy should be okay. Oh shit, that guy has a power claw. Fucking hell, no wonder. Also, he's got a destroyed leg. Okay, I need somebody to tend to you. Asora, whatever you do, please don't freak out about the birds and like knock over everything. I can see you getting so excited. Yeah, so, BitLife. I can finish this story eventually. I made my guy a singer. My lineage came down to, like, I kept a solid 14-line lineage in one of the families or whatever. And it all started with this guy that I made him a singer. Like, that was basically his career, and he became a multi-millionaire. He just had fucking bangers after bangers, and it was just going so well. And obviously, like, later in life, he died. I left all that inheritance to... I always had him have, like, a multitude of kids, and I picked the one that I liked the look of the most, and then I kind of, like, left the inheritance to that one, regardless. And it was usually, like, if my person started getting too old, I'd have them reproduce again. This was the only problem with getting a female, was obviously after, I think, 45, they couldn't reproduce. It was either 45 or 35, they couldn't reproduce. So therefore, whoever their lineage was, like, they had to have had it pretty close to that 30s. Because if they lived to, by the way, I had a couple live to well and over, it was 118 plus, their lineage dies out if they don't happen to reproduce themselves, which I had that happen eventually in his line. Chris is having a tantrum. He's in pain. Yeah, so his lineage did die out to him having like a great-granddaughter that was like lived to like anciency, and her kids just never reproduced and never adopted or anything like that, so it ended with that. However, I just thought it was just marvelous that my guy happened to be so lucky in his career. And the funniest thing is my brother thought that in some way I was cheating with the game. He's like, is there a way to like input money to get money? Like one of those like pay to win type games? I'm like, nope. I got super lucky. And my guy legitimately has like become this famous singer, and his albums are just selling for freaking decades. Everything's like pretty sweet. And I'm like, I'm pretty much looking at the fact that his lineage is going to be like well off for years to come. I also he did lose a fair bit to one of his sons or grandsons. It was either his son or his grandson lost like a good quarter of his wealth to fuck knows what it was. I think he kept getting married, and the woman kept taking him to fucking cleaners. That's what happened with that one. We lost so much of the inheritance. See, Lebia asked Felicia to join, and she's accepted the community. Sweet. You. Glad to see you out of... Holy shit, you're the one with the 20. Glad to see you out of there. Where's your bio? You're normal. Okay. Where the fuck's my thing? Clear forced. Have anybody else set to force? Yeah, it's pretty unreal. Like, I did enjoy the game. I ended up... I also did another thing with it too, which I found personally was quite fun, was I had a... what do you call it? A continuous name lineage. Okay, so regardless of if there were sons or daughters, when the child of my character married and I was in control of the adult child, I would make them take the name of their spouse in front of their current last name. So what would happen is it would go from, say, like before, like with Labia and Felicia, I got an insulting spree.